Have you seen the Wikipedia article about Gamergate?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
That actually, that unlike the media and the news in general, that is something that changed my perspective, but not necessarily Gamergate itself, as much as I saw how Gamergate was covered, and then I discovered a whole bunch of articles and a whole bunch of things. And I started to look into the edit wars on Wikipedia and just realized that it was a shit show to begin with. I put way too much trust on Wikipedia when, yeah, it's kind of a mess.
By the way, if anyone is watching this and they were involved in the Wikipedia article on either side, um, I think you'd have an interesting perspective to add to the conversation. I'd like to interview you.
Mhm.
Would you like to see the narrative change on Gamergate?
Like, it would be nice, but I don't think it matters too much at this point. Because again, it's over. I think game journalism has changed from it. Again, I see the disclosures, I see um it's not perfect, but definitely there's been more attention to certain things that we were complaining about. And even if they don't probably most people don't feel like Gamergate in general was a good actor when it comes to those changes, but those changes happened, and those changes happened after Gamergate, so it worked. So no, I mean, I feel it would be nice, but it's not going to lead to anything, you know.
Do you think do you think that the media getting this so wrong, well, one, has it impacted your conscious experience as a person? And two, do you think it's important for the history books?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think there's going to be much of an history book about Gamergate. I think that in 10 more years, we will not, most people will not know what Gamergate is. So I don't think there's going to be a history. Like, I know that you're trying to write the history book, but yeah, I don't think there will still be a conversation about it.
Really?
I
Because
would.
it's, I people either have like super divergent views on this. Because it seems like some people like you are like, well, maybe it wasn't really that big of a deal in terms of history. Other people on both sides are like, Gamergate caused Trump to be elected. Gamergate
Oh,
was the first battle of the culture war.
don't get me
Gamergate
wrong.
was extremely important. You know, people have like
I heard
divergent views.
I heard those arguments, and I think they're dumb. On the matter of Gamergate got Trump elected, no, I think there are correlations. I think that what happened with the Trump election is parallel with what happened with certain people in Gamergate, like how people got so tribalistic, etc. But I think that it was something that was brewing in society, and it just expressed in both of these events. I don't think there is a correlation. Like, let's put it this way. I think that if someone had a political idea, if someone uh generally used to vote Democrat, and then Gamergate happened and decided I'm going to vote for Trump, I think that is a special kind of stupid. Like, I don't believe, like, I believe, if anything, that there's a lot of very young, very impressionable people that didn't had very strong opinions about politics, and they might have been tipped towards Trump. But that is more like peer pressure that always happened for whatever. You're surrounded by people that tell you to vote one way, and you think those people are cool and you're voting that way. But it's not because anything that was relevant to Gamergate, honestly.
Well, do you want to hear the smart argument for how Gamergate was important? It's not the Gamergate caused Trump thing
Sure, no,
that
no,
you see the
sure.
media say. Like
Like,
that's
I mean,
bullshit. I
I
agree.
heard,
But
I heard several, but sure.
I think I think that Gamergate represented this massive cultural flashpoint where there were a lot of these really weird far left social ideas that were being tried out in society, and nobody was really ever pushing back on some of these ideas. And that part of what
What are these
Gamergate did,
ideas?
well, that we shouldn't platform people with offensive views, that people should silence conversations and shut them down rather than have them, and that like white men are evil, all these like sort of weird kind of fringe ideas, and that for a while these ideas were beginning to seep into the mainstream in academia, in the media, in Hollywood. That these ideas were becoming very popular. That you shouldn't have conversations with people who disagree with you. There's still people who believe this. That you need to silence your opposition, crush them by any means necessary. And that sort of mindset and some of those ideas were beginning to proliferate in society. And that Gamergate was just like the first major group of people to push back against them in a very public, very loud, very clear way. Now, that's not the whole
So,
Gamergate story, right? Part of Gamergate's about ethics, part of Gamergate's about
sure.
creative freedom. But I think that like is like a major thing. And maybe if it wasn't Gamergate, 5 years later, there would have been some other pushback. Maybe
So
even 2 years later.
I have two issues with that. The first one is that a lot of the ideas that you're describing, uh, they are not necessarily what Gamergate was about. And I'm not saying that as in there weren't people that were about that. But there's a lot of both sides. A lot of the ideas were very muddled, way more than people recognize. Um, and the second thing is that happened before. Like Gamergate, honestly, is the backlash that we care about in a sense, but there's always been people that try to silence the opposition. There's always been people that stand up to that. I'm not even talking in the last 50 years. I'm talking for as long as humanity has existed. There's always been censors. There's always been demagogues. There's always been uh, people that try to have the conversation being the only conversation. This is nothing new,
Oh,
and
I
this is
agree.
nothing like I don't has always happened, will always happen, and Gamergate is not that special in that sense.
These ideas have always existed, and there's always been people who are censors. I agree, but these things ebb and they flow, and
Yeah,
they have high points and they have low points, and there has been this ideological capture in many of the institutions of the left, where the left-wing view historically, in very recent memory, was this sort of ACLU, free speech, bad ideas die in the sunlight. You should debate people, not silence them. Like that was very much what the left was about 10, 15 years ago.
but it is still that way, and
Not
it's
as
still
much. Not at all.
no,
Maybe not at all.
but that's the thing. It's not true. As in, those people are still there, and people that do not think like that always existed. It's more a matter of who has the loudest megaphone at that point, or who you are paying more attention to. but I can guarantee you that that always existed. Like there's there's always been a lot of people that wanted to censor everything that is conservative and right wing because they consider those ideas dangerous. And there's always been people that are like, no, let them talk and let the like that has always been a thing.
Sure,
The
but they have
difference
power now. They didn't have power before.
do do they? What is this power?
Well,
Like what
let's look at the fact that the vast majority of Americans are afraid to talk about their political opinions.
I
How about
I
or
know
uh,
I know those people. Like I have a lot of friends that are kind of like that. On both sides, by the way, that is happening because there's a lot of people that are afraid of saying something against Trump, even though they think he's a moron. But all the conservative friends, they think that they might be on his side. Um, I never had that fear. I don't have that fear in front of them. Sometimes there are people that tell me things that are absolutely rational, but they anticipate with a bunch of disclaimers like I generally don't think things like that, but like no, that's perfectly okay to it always happened.
but it's
Like
way worse, dude.
it's like
You have
it,
major universities
no. Here's what
that
changed. Here's what actually changed and what a lot of people are not addressing. I was born in 1982. In 1982, we were, I believe, less than 5 billion people. And if you, 82 is not like I wasn't born like in the 50s. And your ideas remained in your hometown, your voice remained in your hometown. You had a very restricted group. Everybody had your own experiences and everything like that. Today, we are 8 billion people hyper connected on the internet, and every single opinion of these 8 billion people is in the open in the same platform as everybody else. That is the real change. Nothing else has changed. What has
oh,
changed is
dude,
that
that's not
you're
true.
interfacing with everybody else.
Look, social media obviously has changed things drastically, and including in some pretty bad ways. But you also have major universities saying that yes, we know that the study we did was flawed, but we think that the political ramifications of us recanting the study are too would be too great. So we're going to keep it up anyway and not correct it.
You're you're saying that in the 50s the universities were not deciding what to get out based on political opinions?
I'm sure they probably did,
Yeah.
and that's bad too. Like it's
Oh,
not a
that's bad
good thing.
too. But what I'm saying is it's not new. This has always happened.
You have the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, literally considered their vaccine advisory committee seriously considered a plan that was going to kill more people, including more African Americans in terms of total number of deaths. They literally considered a plan. They seriously put it under advisement. This plan that was going to kill more Americans, including more African Americans,
Mhm.
but that the African American under this plan, the African American percentage of the population that would die would be lower than the white percentage. So even though more overall black people would die and more overall Americans would die, they were going to put in this plan that they knew would kill them, but they would be a
I
lower percentage of the population because this was them fighting against systemic racism. Like this was literally
I
the top level of our government.
I have a response to do all the arguments that are like this. Um I am generally an optimist. And every time someone says something like that, I ask, name the time where it was better. Like, tell me the moment in time where things were better on whatever you just said, and we slipped from there.
Yeah, I mean, again, I was a kid during like the 90s and 2000s, but it does actually
Absolutely.
seem like race relations were actually probably better then. And
They weren't. There were also people that were thinking about stuff like the AIDS epidemic as a solution to the gay problem. You know, like
well,
things have always
I
had.
said race relations specifically, right? Obviously,
No,
we
no,
made a
no, no.
lot of
I know,
progress on on gay.
but just
I'm
to
pro
say,
gay. I'm pro you know.
absolutely. But just to say, there's always been shitty people doing shitty things. We have the means to pay way more attention to it right now because of how connected we are. And because the fact that we have everybody has a video camera 24/7. Everybody has a way to say their opinion or say what happened to them 24/7 on a platform where everybody is.
Yeah,
That is what changed.
yeah. Again, maybe you're right, but I mean, there is very much a very real change where large swaths of the left don't believe in discourse.
Sure,
That is very much a very
absolutely.
real
You're
phenomenon.
right.
And look, the right's the
It's
same
true.
way.
Oh
I don't
no,
give
no,
them
absolutely.
cover, but
You're right. You're right. There's a bunch of people in the left that they're not interested in discourse. That was always true. That has always been true.
these people didn't have power before, okay?
I continue to not see this change in power. I see a lot of like just like in the video games, I see a lot of ranting. I see a lot of people saying this shouldn't happen, but I don't see people actually make it not happen. I don't
If
see
we
people actually making sure that the discussions do not happen
if we talk
because the
about
discussions are happening.
well, right now would be a good example of it, right? Because right now I'm live streaming on
Yeah.
Twitch. If
Yeah.
you express any even slight disagreement about the transgender stuff in any
Uh-huh.
way, well, even if it's
Uh-huh.
just like about sports, even if it's just about
Sure.
whether or not puberty
Sure.
blockers are the best approach for
I
any
I know
aspect,
where you're going to.
we'll get banned from
Okay.
Twitch if we
And you get banned
criticize it in
from
the
Twitch.
slightest way, the
Can
slightest
you
way.
open can you open a blog about it?
So so see, right, you have for now, sure, but the fact is these are also the platforms that are the public square. If you get banned from like major social media sites, you're basically off the internet. You're not able to participate in the mainstream discourse.
No, no. Because people that want to look for your opinion can reach you. Like the thing that you're complaining is that a specific platform is not catering to you, which they don't have an obligation to begin with. And they never had an obligation. And in the past, it was worse because a lot of the big platforms were not even open to the public, but they were just personal interest of personal people that were just sending the message. So things didn't get worse.
If they are a large platform, they probably should be required to accept. They should be viewpoint
I'm
neutral.
not sure that I agree. As long as you have alternatives, which you have, and yeah, no, I don't. I'm not sure I
Well,
agree.
even the alternatives, though, right? Look at Russell Brand, right? He's been accused. Maybe he's guilty. I don't know. I haven't looked into the case, but
Sure.
he's been accused of sexual assault.
Yeah.
And what has happened? There's a massive campaign right now. Right now, he's not been found guilty in a court of law. He hasn't been found guilty yet, right? Maybe he's innocent, right? We don't fucking know, man. He's got
Yeah.
allegations against him. But what's this? The
Sure.
members of the British Parliament are literally demanding that Rumble, the site where he's on, the alternate media platform, the alternative to Twitch, the alternative to Kick, They're demanding
Uh-huh.
that they censor him and remove
Sure.
him and demonetize him. Members of
Demanding,
parliament are demanding this.
but are they legiferating about it?
Not yet, but if the government is demanding that you censor somebody,
Like the moment that they sign a law, I will be concerned. But they didn't, and I don't think they will. I don't think that is going to happen.
but the UK is a society where if you tell jokes that are bad, like you teach your dog how to do a Nazi salute, you literally are you're literally attacked by basically the Gestapo. The police will come after you.
Oh, come on,
And
no.
no, yes, it's not a criminal. It's a criminal offense. It's a criminal offense to teach your dog
Honestly,
to do a Nazi salute.
honestly, if you want to make that example, talk about Germany because there is literally outlawed. You don't agree with it?
I don't. I believe in freedom of speech.
Okay, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't.
I I
Good.
I think I think that given the specific circumstance of a place like Germany, that might be warranted. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the fact that it's necessary, but aside from what happened actually during World War II, even after, with how many people were killed by people that were recruited through that message, it's an actual public concern. And you still have ways to express yourself.
We don't what there's a couple things that one I would not ever let anyone decide for me what I'm allowed to think or what I'm allowed to hear. And I also there are not good reasons to think that like, oh, if we make it illegal for people to teach their dog to do a Nazi salute, or if we make it illegal for you to draw a swastika or whatever, that this is
Mhm.
going to actually prevent fascists from coming to power. If anything,
No,
the
I
countries
agree.
that have the hate speech laws seem to be having a problem. Like there's a reason that the National Front in France is literally the second most popular party, right? And they have tons of hate speech laws on the books. It doesn't seem to be stopping them.
Mm,
Your
but
country, Italy, your country,
but it,
Italy, has a
but it,
fascist prime minister, right?
but it's not. But that is not the cause one way or the other. Like, it's not that they're raising to power because someone forbid to write to draw this swastika. Like, those are not the causes. Specifically when it comes to Italy, the left wing has not done anything for 30 years. So I don't even think that the majority in Italy is right wing. It's just that the left wing doesn't have anyone to vote that has an original thought and has a plan. So
But your hate speech laws didn't stop that.
no, but why would they? Like, as in,
Well, the whole point
like
is of the hate speech
like
laws is to stop Nazis from coming to power, but turns out it doesn't stop them at all.
well, the thing that actually stops Nazi from coming to power is that they change the structure of power, which is why you have a quote unquote fascist on the government, and still nobody is being like nothing is really happening in Italy. There's some laws that are definitely controversial when it comes to LGBTQ, etc. But it's not like they're gassing the gay and the Jews in Italy right now. Like, let's talk about it. Like, what is happening is that you have a milder right wing government than you had with Trump in America, really, because the whole society is structured so that, first of all, nobody gets the power to do that kind of shit, and second, the entire society agrees on the basic rules of living in a society where you value human life and stuff like that. So it's not really relevant.
I mean, you yourself said that it was a fascist government, and
It
look,
is.
I
It
agree.
absolutely is.
You need to have in a liberal democracy. You need to have checks and balances and constitutions that
Absolutely.
protect the rights of the minority. Like, I 1,000% agree. Like, I'm not against that at all. I'm against hate speech laws, and hate speech laws did not stop a fascist from coming to power in your own country.
Yeah. But I don't think that uh, that was the goal to begin with. Like the hate speech laws are not there to block like the political rise of a party or another.
Then what purpose do they serve?
Well, to make sure that the dignity of everybody, like regardless of the gender, race, religion, etc., is preserved. Like that's the main thing.
Preserved from what? Because like it seems like at the end of the day, all this hate speech stuff is it is using the violence of the state to suppress people for having opinions that you don't like, for thoughts in their head. And I don't believe that the power of the state and should I don't believe the state should exercise violence against people for thoughts that they have.
Can I can I flip the argument on the other side? Why is it so important to you to have the right to be racist? Like just so we understand each other. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have it, but why is it important to you?
Because I don't trust the people. I don't trust anyone to define what is and what isn't racist. I mean, you were a part of
And
Gamergate. Tons of people would say that you're a racist just for supporting this movement, even though it's obviously not true.
to
Um,
to be honest, and I want to point it out, I don't believe there's been many people that accuse me of being racist or sexist or anything like that that had even the briefest conversation with me. What I was mainly accused is, oh, you are a useful idiot for the racists and the fascists that are in Gamergate, and you are helping them spreading the message. And I'm really not. I mean, fighting all day, so. But no, I wasn't really accused of anything like that because it was very clear when anybody was talking to me, it was very clear that I was not one.
but they used that excuse to shut down the conversation across many
Mm,
platforms.
I mean, I mean, they might have tried to do that, but not a lot of conversation was shut to me. Like, like I had plenty of opportunity to talk about Gamergate. Otherwise, I would have given up probably if there was no conversation to be had.
And I also have this objection to the idea that we should silence people because they have opinions or they have literally thoughts in their head, and that
No,
this is casus belli to
I
enact the
agree with
powers of
that
the
point.
state against them.
I
Like,
agree with that point. Don't get me wrong. I am
and it
definitely
makes
on
the
the
left. Sorry, go ahead.
I am definitely on the camp of the sun is the best disinfectant and having everybody express their opinion and show how stupid they are in a sense. As in, I definitely I think you know me enough to know that I definitely never been afraid of the conversation.
But the left is
But
so much. Sorry, go ahead.
but you're talking about the left again like it's a monolith, which is not.
I'm on the left. Like, I very much am.
Yeah, exactly.
But they look
Who is
the
they?
left
First
so
of all, first of all, if I am on the left and you are on the left, who is they?
I'm never gonna be able to make this point. The left though, large segments of the left, which I'm a part of, and I see it all the time. I see it pretty much every day, especially in the space that I'm operating in. They don't know how to argue. They don't know how to defend their points. They don't know how to make counter arguments. They're the worst debaters. The left doesn't
Well,
know anything. about how to argue. Very few exceptions like Destiny, people like that. Most of the people on the left, if they encounter a right-wing idea, they don't know how to counter it. They have no idea because they spend all of their time in their echo chambers. They spend all of their time reaffirming themselves and each other, and they don't know how to debate. It makes the left worse debaters, and it makes them more out of touch, and it makes them unwilling to defend the ideas that are actually good because they don't know what to do when they encounter. It's like, gee, it's like Christopher Hitchens pointed this out. If
Says
I
your boss.
encounter Christopher Hitchens, if you encountered a flat Earth person,
Yeah,
and you'd have to think to yourself, how am I going to dismantle this argument? Maybe that's something worth considering and thinking about. Like, how am I going to be able to tackle this bad idea? But a lot of people on the left, not everybody, right? There's people like me, there's people like Destiny,
sure.
who are able to debate these people and like actually have good arguments and good ideas, but most people don't because they just want to shut down all the conversations. And this is
Yeah,
leading to people like Trump getting elected, right? Why Trump is a backlash to this extreme censoriousness. It didn't stop Trump. If anything, it emboldened him, I think.
I I'm not sure you're right about this is what got Trump elected. I don't agree with that. I in a sense agree with the rest, but I think that is more generalized than that. Um I think a lot of people, both on the right and the left, are just dumb. A lot of people are more invested um into winning the argument than having a good argument. A lot of people don't care about having a dialogue. And again, it's not left, it's both sides. And that's it. Like it's just human beings that are flawed, and they've always been like that. Like, like think about just religion and how uh is something that was ubiquitous in the life of everybody and could not be questioned. Like, there's always been people that are dogmatic, people that find it more convenient to adhere to a set of rules and views without ever questioning them, that are used to shut down a conversation rather than questioning their own ideas. Always happened, always will. I don't think it's a problem specifically of the left. I don't see any better on the other side. And I don't see anything better happening before.
Okay. Well, hey, I'll. Anything else you want to say about the political or free speech side of this? I'll give you the final word.
Uh, let's say political. Honestly, again, as I said, I'm an optimist. I think that things are moving in the right direction. But when things move in the right direction, you should be prepared for a backlash. And what we are seeing is more like a backlash. There's a lot of people that don't like how the world is going, but for the most part are older generations. And for the most part are people that are already losing the argument. Um, Even stuff like the war in Ukraine. Like, people are scared right now and it makes sense, but Russia was always a problem. Russia always had nukes. The only thing that changed is that we thought that it was the second army in the world, and now is the second army in Ukraine. Um, like, like there's a lot of things that are scary because the people that are losing are mad about it and they're lashing out. The lashing out is the part that is scary. They're not winning. Like, you have the right wing having people aside from black people on the right wing, but people that are openly gay because they already gave up on the entire argument. They still, you know, rant about it. They still just go, "Oh no, the LGBTQ," but they have to elect them because they know that there is no way to turn back. A lot. of the shitty things that are getting more attention, they are they're a death throw of ideologies that are dying. And they're not even dying because there is something else that is destroying. Like, the thing that people need to understand is that the fringe and the people that are loud are not the people that are moving the needle. The people that are moving the needle are the people that are just living their life and think that those people are lunatics. And that is the majority of people. The majority of people is not that active, is not that loud, is not that invested. Like, even with Trump got elected. Trump got elected with 3 million votes less than his opponent. Like, the popular vote has not been won by the Republican for how much? 50 years?
Well, I think a little bit sooner than that, since 2000, right? Or 2004, technically.
No. Who, Bush?
Bush's second term, he won the popular vote.
Wasn't the second term even in doubt if he won at all?
No, that
With
was the first
with what
term.
happened in Florida?
That was the first term. That was
Oh, maybe it
2000.
was the first one. Are you sure that he got the vote? Like, I can look it up, but
But but
the
but
thing is,
but yes, it's been they've only won one popular vote in the past like 30
the
years.
and the way that they win for the most part, aside from a lot of gerrymandering and voter suppression, but is always with the old generation that are dying. There's even people in the Republican Party that propose to raise the age for voting to 21 because they know that anyone between 18 and 21 is going to give them a fucking beating in the next election. And they don't even realize that if they do that, they just trade one vote for people that will vote for 50 years and have a reason to never vote for you. Things are moving in that direction. Like, there's going to be people that complain about the gays, but the gays are not going away and they're not going back into the closet. They complain about trans people. Trans people are not going back into the closet. They're going to be accepted more and more, and there's going to be some backlash. There's going to be stuff that is not pretty, but it's not going the other direction. There's going to be people that are trying to resist progress, but progress still is going to happen. And it's going in one direction. It's not going back and forth. It's going decidedly in one direction constantly. And I am concerned on one side for the backlash. I'm concerned for violence that might happen, etc. But I'm not concerned for the future. I think the future is going to be fine.
All right, a positive note, Scarlet. Thank you, thank you. We do have just have
What?
last few questions if you want to
Sure.
wrap this up relatively soon. Thank you for watching another video segment from the people of Gamergate. I'm happy to announce that the book, The People of Gamergate Volume 1, is now available in both hardcover and Kindle formats. Please head over to gamergatebook.com or search for The People of Gamergate on Amazon to pick up your copy today. Thank you, and have a great day.